Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from the beautiful Carolinas. Today's topic is going to be when the narcissist realizes they lost. Think about that for a minute. Guys, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So I created a few videos on this topic with a little bit changing of the words in the thumbnail. And a few subscribers mentioned to me, hey, would you redo the video, give it a fresh take? So here we are. When the narcissist realizes they lost, this is going to be a monumental thing. Now, keep in mind, the narcissist, for you, post-narcissistic relationship, number one, they're going to realize that they lost the best thing ever, which was you, the person watching the video. And again, thank you very much for being here. But on top of that, and I'll jump into that in a minute, but on top of that, they also will realize all of the relationships that they lost, not just you. Now, you are the focus because you're on the channel. And you are the person that I am focused on right now because you're consuming the content. But the point is, there are so many things the narcissist loses throughout life. They blow up virtually every relationship they get entangled with. And I do mean entangled because there's no core to a narcissistic relationship. There's no substance. It's all smoke and mirrors. And the narcissist knows this. You did not know it when you entered the relationship, but now you know because you're getting the wisdom. Having said that, when the narcissist realizes they lost, believe me, there will be times down the road, if not now, maybe tomorrow, maybe in a month, years, they will look back. Why? Because they're human beings, just like you are. But they'll look back and they'll say to themselves, wow, that person, which was you, I really blew up that relationship. I really devastated that relationship. I instilled the smear campaign, blew up all of their relationships that they had built up over years, decades perhaps. Their business probably was suffering. Their own family probably couldn't talk to them for a period of time because it was just so overwhelming, the toxicity of the ending of the relationship and the culmination of the relationship and putting everything together. On top of that, friends who had dissipated or disappeared, people that didn't believe in you, people that didn't have your best interest at heart, they all weeded themselves out. But the narcissist will realize this. They will realize that their life of deceit, destruction, and manipulation, it's not a good way to be. And on top of that, they will realize in time, believe me, they will, what they lost. And in this case, it's you. Now, when the relationship ends, and let's say it ended yesterday or recently, that is a mountain of work you're going to have to go through. You're going to have to process things. Believe me when I tell you, but in time, in your time, you will heal if you do the steps necessary to get through the post-narcissistic relationship. In other words, you will have to break the trauma bond most likely. You will lose friends, I can assure you, perhaps even family members, acquaintances. Perhaps you'll have to change your job, relocate, start fresh with a clean slate. That is most likely what you will do. That's what most of us do. And then you will say to yourself, wow, you'll be at a pivotal point along the healing path. You will say to yourself, wow, what about this narcissist? Do I forgive them? Do I think that they meant to do what they did? The first part, do you forgive them? Absolutely not. They are parasitic and they took you down the rabbit hole of destruction and they knew that what they were doing. Remember, like I mentioned on the channel, if they had walked up to you and given you a 2-page report on what they would do to you, would you have signed the paper and entered the narcissistic relationship? There's no way you would have. Absolutely not. And that's what they did. They did that without giving you the 2-page report. And the second part is, did they know what they were doing? Absolutely, 100%. They know what they're doing right now. What they're doing is they're also blowing up relationships that they're a part of. Could be mom, dad, aunt, uncle, kids, siblings, neighbors, coworkers, people in a community or organization, a religious group or something. This is what the narcissist thrives on. This is how they jump around from people to people, group to group, bubble to bubble. But there will be times, trust me when I tell you, when they look back and they realize what they lost. And in this case, they lost you. That is a good thing. When the relationship ended, you did not think it was a good thing. Why? Because you were in the trauma bond and you believed that they, the narcissist, had all of the answers to the questions, that they would give you closure, that they would help you get through this, that perhaps they did love you or that perhaps they did want to see you improve. None of those things are true. The truth of the matter is, if you were discarded as an example, the narcissist did this selectively. They picked a proper time of the year on the calendar. Perhaps it was when you were grieving a loss in the family. Perhaps you had just lost your job. Perhaps your physical health was hurting. Perhaps it was a holiday or a birthday or a celebration or some big moment in your life. This is when the narcissist usually discards people. It's when there are pivotal times in your life. Example, let's say it was 2 days before your favorite holiday during a pandemic and you were working from home and you couldn't walk, and etc. You get my point. This is a perfect time to discard somebody. It really is. Why? Because essentially they're ending a relationship that was false anyway, but they're kicking you when you're down. They're preying on your vulnerability. And this is what I mentioned on the channel. They want to leave you crumbled up like a sheet of paper on the freeway. They really do. That's what they think about the relationship. Once they extract all of your resources, that's how they do these things. But believe me when I tell you, they will look back and they'll say, wow, I really had it good. Because you know what? They did. Think about this, and I can prove it right now. For many of you who have ended the relationship, or let's say you're going through a divorce, or you are about to get divorced, and your spouse or partner is the narcissist or a narcissist, are they letting you or allowing you to go through the divorce properly in a speedy like time and signing off the agreement and making the assets be split 50-50? Of course they're not. Why would they? You see, they know what they have in you. Understand my message. They know you're valuable. They know your bright light. They know your abundance, your empathy, your love. They know what you're built on. They know your foundation. They don't want to lose that. Now, again, I'm not trying to trigger you or upset you. I'm telling you, once you get the wisdom on narcissism, and if you are trying to divorce the narcissist, I strongly suggest you continue down that path if that's what you're doing, because the narcissist will consume you. They've already disrupted your energy, and they've already taken months, years, or decades from you. You know that now. And what you thought the relationship was built on, it wasn't. It was built on a house of cards. It was built on quicksand. Having said all these things, the narcissist knows what they are going to miss if you are trying to divorce them. The narcissist knows what they have missed if you have divorced them. Or let's say that you ended the friendship or the business, whatever it was. The narcissist knows this. Why? Because after you, and certainly before you, they had other sources of supply. And believe me when I tell you, they are comparing different sources of supply. Now, I'm not saying that everyone is created equal on the planet, because we certainly aren't. However, what you provided was special. It was rare. It was unique. It was abundant. You did not want to quit on the relationship. You did not want to give up. You wanted to fight for the relationship. That's why you worked so hard for it, so hard in it. That's why when you got married, perhaps you believed in your vows. Remember, the narcissist, what they looked at marriage for was just a license to abuse you. When the wedding ring was slipped on, they said, perfect, I have this one locked down now. Let the games begin. That's not what you thought. You thought you were in a loving, kind, stable relationship. Nothing could be further from the truth. So post-relationship, the narcissist will look back. What do you think a hoover is? Exactly, think about it. A hoover is many times when the narcissist doesn't have a viable source of supply, or maybe they do, and they are looking back and saying how strong you are, because they know what you provided for them. They know how much you gave to the relationship, and they want more of that back. They know how you pumped up their fragile ego. They know how that you supported them financially. They know how you were there for them emotionally. They know how you were a sounding board for them. They know how you made them feel. Keep in mind all of these things. That's essentially what a hoover is. They're trying to get you back in the cycle for another round of punishment. Sorry, but that's the way it goes. So will the narcissist, when the narcissist looks back and realizes what they lost, of course they will. Will they admit it? No chance. Do they think that they're better than you even right now? 100%. Can they ever introspect and be accountable and say to themselves, wow, I really did a number on this person, the person who is you, by the way. I really instilled a lot of damage to them. No, they won't do that. They won't at all, because they're not accountable. Think of how many times you got an authentic apology from the narcissist. Think of how many times you heard, I am sorry. Think of how many times they shed a tear and actually meant it. Think of how many times they said, yes, I want to change. I want to improve, and I want to build this relationship. Think about these things. What you really got in the relationship was word salad. You got future faking. You got possibilities of things never to come. You got you giving all of your energy and time and effort into the relationship while the narcissist consumed it. And what did they do? They took you for granted throughout the whole relationship, I can assure you. They really did. I can prove that to you right now. Texting. Let's say you were in the relationship for X period of time. In the beginning, the relationship moved at light speed, right? Of course it did, because they wanted to ensnare you in the web of manipulation. Once they had you locked down like that, then texting, they took you for granted. Why? Because they had you trained, they had you groomed. They knew that you would respond as soon as you possibly could. They knew that you'd be sitting there waiting by the phone to reply to their text, and you would report back to them whatever you're doing or whatever they needed done to get it off the list. Now, think about it. With texting, as the relationship went on, did they text you more and more often? And was there any substance to the texts? No, it really wasn't. When you would text them back, like in the old days, you would unfortunately report back to them, maybe text them a couple paragraphs. What would they give you? They would give you, okay, got it, thanks, all right. They would give you barely one-word answers, and they wouldn't even be spelled properly. That's how much they cared about the relationship. And then you would, by chance, be sitting right next to them, and you would look at their cell phone, because say you were sitting there watching a documentary or something. Of course you were watching, they weren't, they were getting supplies sitting right next to you. But then you would see them typing paragraphs to other people, and you're scratching your head. You're like, wait a minute, what's going on here? I barely get one word, and it's not even spelled properly, and this person, whoever they are, I don't even know who they are, they're getting a monologue sent to them. Why? Think about it. It's because they are your replacement. They are supply, and the narcissist needs to reel them in just the way they reeled you in. These are the games of the narcissist. It's a pattern. It's a cycle that continues to go on and on and on until you remove yourself or until you unfortunately get discarded. Either way, it's a challenging experience to process things and put yourself back together. But when the narcissist realizes they lost, they will realize they lost the best thing in the world, which was you. They will realize that they blew up relationships with their kids. They will realize that they blew up relationships in business, in friendships. They will realize that people that they were spending time with finally wised up and caught onto them and didn't invite them to certain locations or parties or events. Why? Because the narcissist blows up every relationship they become a part of. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but in time they will, believe me, because they can't keep the masquerade up every single day. They can't do it. And a side note for you, many times people say, well, wait, the narcissist has had these couple long-term friends for 30 years. What's going on? How come they don't know what's going on? In other words, that they're a narcissist. Well, there are two things there. One, perhaps they do, and they just don't want to be the next target. Or the second is, maybe they don't see the narcissist as frequently, and so they only get small doses of the narcissist, so they really never get to see the mask slip. Understand that message. That's a distinct possibility. The more time you spend with the narcissist, the more likely you are to see the mask slip. That's exactly how it works. And remember, most of the toxic narcissistic abuse happens behind closed doors. Example, when you're home alone, or when you're home, or when you're in a car, or when it's just the two of you in a location. That's when a lot of this stuff happens. It usually doesn't happen as often in general public settings, because remember, the narcissist needs to portray themselves as one individual to the exterior, or the general public, and you were meant to be the punching bag, the person to take all the abuse, verbal, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial. That list goes on and on. So guys, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it. From the beautiful Carolinas, this is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon. Stay true, stay blessed. Continue to become awakened and aware, and understand you are the priority. And for those of you thinking, wait a minute, Andrew, the narcissist isn't going to realize they lost. Trust me, they will. They just won't tell you. They won't say anything because they believe they're superior to everybody else. The narcissist knew what they had in you. They knew the whole time. That's why they got in the relationship with you. They took what they could. They discarded you. They left you on the side of the road. Now you're built up stronger than ever. Now you've risen through the ashes like a phoenix. Now you're the best version of yourself, the third version of yourself, or you're beginning to enter that version. And this is when it's game over for the narcissist. It's checkmate. It's you begin living your best life, and they continue, unfortunately, to blow up other relationships of unsuspecting individuals. But trust me when I tell you, the narcissist will look back and realize they lost. You know why? Because they did. Guys, God bless you. Have a great afternoon. I love you. Remember, no matter where you are on the planet, you are not alone. I love you. Stay true, stay strong, and continue to believe in yourselves. If not now, when? I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. All right, bye.